I'm not ready for this. I don't know what my wispies are doing, okay? Please just, is that the actual term? Is there like a literal term for this hair? I just call them wispies. Let me know what you call them, but I don't know what they're doing, so just ignore them, okay? They are not the focus of today's video.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I just ate something spicy and it's creeping back up. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I hope you stick around, and if you're a returning viewer, clicker, subscriber, commenter, liker, OG, thank you a little bit extra. So today we're doing part 4, the last part of my declutter series, and it's probably going to be the longest one, and it's the most sad one. I'm bummed. Clearly I have a problem. I was gonna try to like organize them by brand and everything, but it's just, there was too much. It wasn't gonna happen. So we're seriously just gonna go like one at a time, and I'm either gonna declutter it or keep it. Lightly used or brand new eyeshadow palettes will be going up on my Poshmark. I'm hoping that if whatever money I can raise, I can do something good with what's going on in the world right now. I'm probably just going to be buying gift cards and stuff for like my local businesses and stuff, but if you have any specific ideas, let me know. Certain things are just going to be too old and I'm going to have to toss, and then other things that are more used that I really just shouldn't be giving to anyone else, I'll put in a pile for like my friends. Also, I'm going to let you know about the great giveaway that I'm going to have going on, which is eyeshadow palette themed. So I'm going to be giving away every single one of the e.l.f. bite-size eyeshadow palettes. I'll insert a picture right here because they are coming in the mail and they should get here tomorrow. So one person's going to receive all of those. I figured that was a perfect giveaway since I don't have any other unused palettes to give away to someone. All those details are going to be on my Instagram. You guys know where that is, so go ahead and check that out. And let's just get into it. So my goal is to try to fit them all into one drawer. That may be ambitious, especially because you'll see a couple of them. Like the packaging just takes up so much room that like I'd have to declutter a lot to be able to get that to happen. But I just want to get into it because I'm sad and I just need to get this started, or else I'm never gonna do it. I'm gonna start, which side should I start on? We'll start over here because this is the shortest pile. First palette, this is an oldie. This is a Too Faced Candy Johnson palette. Ow!
Ow.
That actually really hurt. Well, I'm gonna have to get rid of this now because it just bit me. I was trying to see if it still smelled good. Still smells delicious. These are the best eyeshadows that Too Faced has ever made. And usually their eyeshadows suck, but these are literally so incredible, and it's because Candy Johnson had something to do with it. That's going to maybe. We'll come back to it, okay? Next, I have this Living in Color palette by Hank and Henry. I got this in a BoxyCharm, I believe, and this is pretty new, and I freaking love these. I used these 3 matte shades in that video, and I loved it, and because this is new and I haven't really gotten to play with it too much, I want to hold on to it. Then another bulky one is this Storybooks Cosmetics palette. Now, I, again, got this in a BoxyCharm or something like that. I really, really like this palette. I love the colors, and this color is really, really unique, which is why I'm tempted to keep it. However, I think I have a similar shade, and this is so bulky, and I've only used this once, so this is gonna go up on my Poshmark. Next, I just have this little Z palette that I keep whenever I want to take like single shadows or anything anywhere, so we're gonna hold on to that, but I just figured I would show you that I have it. Now we have the Jeffree Star Mini Breaker palette. Now, I really, really like this palette. I haven't used it so much though, and I definitely do think I have similar shades in my collection. I think I'm gonna put this on my Poshmark as well. Next, we have this palette by The Balm. It's called the Meet Matchmaker palette, and these shadows are really, really good, but I do not reach for this palette. It looks much more like used than it is, but I definitely have used this, and I'm gonna put this in my friends pile. Moving on, we have the Milani Gilded Desires palette. This is absolutely stunning. One of Milani's best palettes for sure. I love the shimmers in here. They are so good. But again, I just have similar shades to this. This is a really, really good palette that I'm going to give to one of my friends who I think can love it a little bit more than me. Then I have this Laura Lee Los Angeles Party Animal palette. Now my sister got this in a BoxyCharm, I think it was in a BoxyCharm, and she just didn't use it. She's not like into these kind of shades. I know she just swatched it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this onto my Poshmark, just noted as gently used, because I haven't used this since she gave it to me. I just haven't been inspired. So we're gonna put that on Poshmark. A few Wet n Wild palettes. These are like $5, I think, and I love these, but I think it's time for me to just repurchase them. So this one is in the shade Rose in the Air. This is for sure a modern Renaissance dupe. I mean, you can just tell by the color schemes. The shimmers in here do not compare to the Anastasia shimmers, I'll tell you that, but they still work fairly well. But the mattes in here are beautiful, and I have given this palette a lot of love. I haven't hit pan. It's hard for me to hit pan on any eyeshadow, but believe me, this is well loved. So I think I'm gonna toss this one, and I'll probably just repurchase it because, like I said, it's like $5, $5 or $6. And then another one of the Color Icon. This is in Comfort Zone. It has such a unique standout shade, this one right here. But again, I have just used and abused these two palettes. They are some of my like oldest purchases at this point that are still in my collection, and I use them all the time. So I'm gonna repurchase them, but for now I'm gonna toss them because they're just a little old. Next I have the Shade and Light palette by Kat Von D. Now I think I've only used this like once or twice, and this is fairly compact. It's not super new though, so I'm not going to put this one on Poshmark. I am going to give this one to one of my friends who would use and abuse it. Next I have the Dose of Colors Desi and Katie quad like pressed glitter thingy. I don't know what I'm saying, but this is absolutely stunning. These are some of the most beautiful like glitter toppers. No, they're even more pigmented than that. You can use them as like a topper, or you can get them really pigmented. They're so beautiful. I'm gonna hold on to this mostly for sentimental reasons because this is kind of old. It still works though. And these shades are definitely unique. Like the texture of them are unique, but also the shades. So I'm for sure keeping this. I love this so much. And I love Desi and Katie, so. Next we have, the brush almost fell out. We have the Sassy Siennas palette by Dose of Colors. I just gotta hold the brush in there. This is what this one looks like. It's all matte. I love to travel with this one. I want the entire collection of these. Oh my god, so badly. I won't do it, but I love this, and I love that it's all matte. A lot of times I'll travel with this and then just bring a couple like eyeshadow toppers or something. I love this. I'm gonna have to keep it. Okay, and now I have 4 Huda Beauty palettes. So I've been a fan of her like mini palettes. I haven't ever tried one of her big ones. So let me look into these. I have the Amethyst one, which I believe I got in a Ipsy or BoxyCharm, and this is stunning, but I have so many other purpley toned eyeshadow palettes. This one I got for Christmas a couple years ago. This is in the shade Warm Brown Obsessions. This is stunning. It's all mattes except for the gold in the middle, which you can see I've dug in on this palette. I got this for Christmas, so it does have sentimental value, but it's also so freaking good, and some of the best, like my favorite kind of neutrals. Like, so I'm gonna have to keep this one. And then we also have the Neon Obsessions. I think this is just the orange one. I love this. These shimmers are much more like eyeshadow toppers, but that's okay with me. But these are unique colors. I use this a lot like last summer on my channel. If you have been here for that long, you know that. So I love this. I hope they come out with another line of these for the summer. And then the last one I have is the Sapphire Obsessions. If you guys know me, you know that I love blue eyeshadow, and I love having a eyeshadow palette dedicated to blue looks. I also love this like silvery shade, so I'm going to keep this one for sure. Next I have the Norvina palette. This is Beaten Up. This was actually my sister's, and she gave it to me because she didn't like love it as much as she thought she did, and I definitely used and abused this, but this has now had 2 owners, and it's just, I think it's time. It's really dirty. I think if anything I'll just repurchase it. I'm hoping, I would rather replace this with one of her new palettes, one of the new Norvina palettes, so I think I'm gonna have to say goodbye to this one. I'm really sad, but I think it's time to go. Another Anastasia palette, probably one of my favorite palettes of all. This is a Carly Bible and Anastasia palette collaboration. I love this palette. If I had to take one palette with me traveling, this is what I take. I do love it so much. It's very messy. I don't know if you can see all the like glitter on the mirror and stuff, but I just love these tones. It's a perfect like amount of pops of colors, but neutrals as well. So I love this palette. Highly recommend. Then I have the Naked Heat palette. This was a gift from my sister, and for that reason I'm going to have to keep it. I do also just really like it, and it does have unique tones, and I like that it's more of like a monochromatic look, so I'm going to go ahead and keep this one. Alright, now I have some more just like little Wet n Wild shades. I have some more little Wet n Wild palettes. These are just like quads or like little pairs of 3. I am going to keep just this one for the matte gray. I use this gray for Halloween looks, so I'm keeping it just for that. These other ones I'm gonna put in my friends pile, but they'll probably just end up getting decluttered, but I'm gonna see if any of them want it first, even though they're only like a couple bucks, but I'll put them over there. And then I have the Natasha Denona Mini Lila palette, and I've said this before, but it's comical how small this is, and like it's just plastic. At least it's like thick and sturdy, but this was $25. I like can't even believe it, but anyway. But I do want to keep this. It is my only Natasha Denona eyeshadow palette, and I love these purple tones. Keeping this. Oh my gosh. ColourPop Sweet Talk palette. Keeping. That's it. That's the tweet. Ace Beauté Grandiose palette. You guys, if you are not new to my channel, you know that I love this palette. Ace Beauté is some of the best eyeshadows ever. I freaking love this palette. I'm gonna have to keep it. Then I have one of the ColourPop and Kathleen Lights collaborations, the Zodiac palette. You know, I don't use this as much as I would like to, but I adore Kathleen Lights. I think she's one of my, she is one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, and I always try to support her, so I'm gonna keep it for that reason. And I just love ColourPop in general, but this is a fairly colorful palette, so it isn't something I'm gonna wear every day. I'm gonna hold on to this. Got a couple more ColourPop palettes. I have the She palette, which is a very reddish rosy tone palette. I don't know if my friend has this already, but if she doesn't, I know she'll love this. So I'm gonna put this on the side for one of my friends that I have in mind. And then this one is discontinued, so I'm gonna keep it. It's the I Think I Love You palette because I can't get it again, and this is like a staple neutral palette for me. Anyway, this is so good. You have warm and cool tones in here. The black is so good, and I just love this palette. It's really good. Then I have the Ace Beauté Scarlet Dusk palette. I've only used this once, if anything, I think, and I definitely have these shades, so I'm gonna put this one up on my Poshmark. Ooh, we have the Mini Controversy palette. I haven't used this since I got it. I'm just not as inspired by these shades. I'm not really sure why, but I did unfortunately dig my nail into this shade, so I'm gonna hold on to this because it definitely shouldn't be tossed, but I'm not gonna put it on Poshmark because I did kind of ruin it. Next I have the Wet n Wild Pac-Man eyeshadow palette. This one, the lid broke off, so I'm gonna put this in my friend's pile. It's definitely fun and colorful. I don't know if any of them will want this, but I'm gonna put this in my friend's pile because I don't even know if I've used it. I might have used it once, if anything, but this is so affordable that I'm not gonna put it on my Poshmark, you know? And then I have the Pure Cosmetics Festival palette. Now, I do not use this enough because this is a really good palette formula wise. I've kept it for these pressed glitters, which I have used a few times. You can kind of see my indents in there, so this is a really good palette, but I just don't need it. I'm gonna go ahead and give this to my friends. Then we have another ColourPop and Kathleen Lights collaboration. This is one of my favorite palettes of all time. I love this palette. This Kaleidoscope shade is otherworldly. It's so freaking good. I have to hold on to this. Then I have this Nomad Cosmetics Berlin Underground palette. I don't even know if I've used this. It doesn't even look used. I held on to this for a while because I was hoping I'd reach for them, but I just don't. So this will be on Poshmark. Ooh, next we have the Alien palette by Jeffree Star. I've only been able to play with this a few times because this is fairly new to my collection, but we're definitely keeping this. I love the color story in here, and luckily I do get some cool tones in here too. I love this palette. I'm for sure keeping it. Okay, now we have some of the best eyeshadows I've ever used in my life. These are the Kaleidos Makeup Futurism palettes. I have 3 of them. I think there's 5 of them in the entire collection. It started out with just these 3. This brand, I need to get more of these eyeshadows. They are literally unreal. I want to try more from this brand too. They're an indie brand. I think they're from China. And I have looks on all these, so, but this one is called, this one is Sci-Fi Green, this one is Cyber Bronze, and this one is Astro Pink. And not only do I love the color stories in here, the mattes are incredible, but I have never used shimmers like these in my life. Hold on, let me just swatch one of them because it's seriously unreal. I'm gonna swatch this silver are you kidding me? Look at that. I seriously don't know of any other shimmers that are that good, so I'm definitely keeping these. Alright, then I have the Butter London, I don't know the name of this palette. This was in a BoxyCharm or Ipsy or something, and this is beautiful. The quality of this is so freaking good. The shimmers are really, really good, and the mattes are good too. But I have used this a few times, so I'm gonna give this to my friends instead of Poshmark. But this is a great palette, so hopefully one of my friends can love it. This is new to my collection. This is the Dominique Cosmetics Sweater Weather palette, so I've only been able to use this once. So I'm gonna hold on to it so I can play with it a little bit more. Okay, then I have this Makeup Revolution like super colorful palette. I haven't really used this, but I do want to get more into avant-garde and more creative looks, so I'm gonna hold on to it for that reason, because it's like an ideal rainbow palette. Moving on, I have the Tarte and Whitney Simmons palette. Now, this is good quality. I don't reach for it too often, but the standout in this palette is this highlight. It is so unique, so intense, and I wish they sold this as a single, because otherwise I would declutter this palette, just because, or give it to my friends, just because I don't reach for it. It's a good palette. I just don't need these colors, but I'm keeping it just for this highlight shade. It's so unique and beautiful and stunning. Ooh, okay, the Alyssa Edwards palette. This is fairly new to my collection, even though this is an older palette, not super old, but I love this palette. I've used it a few times now, and I'm just not ready to get rid of it. It's too new to my collection anyway, but it's also just so unique, and I love the formula of all of these. Then I have this NYX Sugar Trip Squad palette. Now, I think I might put this on Poshmark. I think I've only used this once, and this is discontinued. So hopefully someone who has been wanting this palette can pick it up on Poshmark. Alamar Cosmetics, Reina de Caribe Volume 1 palette. Y'all know, I gotta keep it. Ooh, Ace Beauté. This is the Flare palette. One of my favorite palettes ever. I love how like deep and juicy these freaking colors are. I love this palette, love the formula. I just absolutely have to keep it. Urban Decay Born to Run palette. Now, this is a really, really nice palette, and honestly, if I could recommend any like high-end palette that would have it all for you, have your neutrals and some pops of colors and stuff, I would recommend this one. However, I've definitely used this, but I don't reach for it as much anymore, so I'm going to give this to one of my friends. It definitely should not be thrown away, but it's definitely too used where I have to give it to a friend. I could not donate it or anything, so hopefully one of my friends loves this palette. Up next, we have the Alter Ego Goddess palette. This is a dupe for the Natasha Denona Gold palette, I believe it is. This is incredible. I can't wait for this brand to come out with more. Obviously, I feel about dupe brands. It sucks because they're obviously ripping off the other brand. But there's not all of us can pay $130 for an eyeshadow palette, okay? So definitely keeping this one. Next one, these are both Kathleen Lights palettes. This is Morphe and Kathleen Lights. This thing is so old. I kept it for sentimental reasons, and now it's just gotta go. And then we have one of my favorite palettes. This is the Kathleen Lights So Jaded palette, and if you remember when I was mentioning the Storybook Cosmetics palette, that green shade, this is like the same kind of shade, so at least I have it in here. This is a beautiful palette. It's fairly new, not super new to my collection, but like I still there's so many shades in here that I clearly haven't used all the shades, so definitely keeping this one, mostly just, I mean, because I love it, but also just because I love Kathleen Lights and I support her with like everything she does, so love this palette. All right, last pile, the Conspiracy palette. This is the Shane and Jeffree palette, and you know what, I haven't used this as much as I thought I would, but now that I'm looking at it, like, I want to use this so bad. I think I'll use this tomorrow, maybe. So I'm gonna hold on to this, but I do have to admit I have not been as inspired by this as I thought I would, and honestly, I think it's because the packaging is so bulky. Like, this is cool packaging, don't get me wrong, but it's bulky, and I've had to put it in a separate drawer because it doesn't fit, so I definitely think that's like one of the downsides of this palette. I wish this was like a flatter palette, but the color story in here is freaking beautiful. All right, next I have the Juvia's Place Masquerade palette. This is the mini version. I have used and abused this one, but I don't think I need it anymore, so this is gonna go into my friend's pile because it's definitely still good. Another Juvia's Place palette. This is the Magic by Juvia's Place. I'm gonna keep this one just because I feel like it has a lot of unique colors, specifically like these deep blues and like the greens and stuff down here. It's just really unique, and I just love Juvia's Place formula, so I think I'm gonna hold on to this for a little bit longer. Maybe it won't make it through my next declutter, but I think for now we should hold on to this one. Tati Beauty Textured Neutrals Volume 1. Where's Volume 2? I need to know, girlfriend. I love this palette. If you guys have been to my channel since getting this, you know that. I'm absolutely keeping this. I think this is a makeup artist essential. Freaking stunning. Ooh, there I am. Next we have the Jeffree Star Jawbreaker palette. This is stunning and colorful goodness. For sure keeping this. This is way too unique of a palette. I also love like how big it is and it has a huge mirror, so definitely keeping this. Then I have the Urban Decay limited edition Game of Thrones eyeshadow palette. It's very strange packaging. It's super bulky and I have to package it this way because this doesn't have a cover, which I hate. This is beautiful. Again, I don't reach for it that often because of how annoying the packaging is, but this is a collector's item to me because I'm such a fan of the show. So I'm definitely going to keep this one, but I may kind of display it on my desk or something, and then that way if I want to reach it or really want to use it one day, I just know it's on my desk and it's not in my drawer. So I think I'm going to do that just so it doesn't take up like so much freaking space in my drawer. We're almost done, you guys. Next I have the Celestial Storm palette. I love this palette and this shade is so unique. And this one is beautiful. I have a couple gray tones, so I'm definitely going to hold on to this. It's not super new to my collection, but it's new enough where I'm just not ready to get rid of it yet. And I love Kristen Dominique. I want to support her. I definitely love this and I have to keep it. Next we have the BH Cosmetics Curly Bible palette. I love this, but it's so old, you guys. I've had this for so long. It's now discontinued. And honestly, I think I just got to get rid of it. I think it's just time. It is really bulky. I don't need this taking up space in my collection anymore. But I love you, Carly. And lastly, we have the Bloodlust palette. This is obviously new to my collection and I haven't been able to use it as much as I've wanted to yet. But I love this. I'm so happy that I have it. So I'm definitely going to hold on to this and do more looks with it. I can't wait for this. Alright, it's tight, but I only have one drawer full of eyeshadow palettes and it's not even totally full anymore. I probably could have decluttered a little bit more, but for now I'm happy with it. Maybe in a couple weeks I'll decide to declutter even more, but like I said, eyeshadow palettes are like my thing. Those are what I like to collect, and as you can tell, a lot of them are like collector's items to me in a way, so yeah. Alright, man. So I don't know when everything on Poshmark will be up. When it is up for sure, I'm going to try to do it tomorrow when this video goes live. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope I see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.